We're better together with Ann and Heather.
Hi, everybody. What a show we have coming up for you. I mean, we're going to talk about such sexy things. I got to say, talk about polyamory.
Shaws of Sunset, Gigi and Anita.
I mean, come on. First of all, they're such fantastic girls. They're coming out with their own podcast, which I think they want to dive into.
They came out with their own podcast.
Yes, excuse me.
Genuinely Gigi.
Genuinely Gigi. And they are exploring topics that we like to explore here, but maybe in a little bit more edgy way. That's not my favorite word, but they are. She's talking about her sexuality.
About sex, drugs.
Sex and drugs. She's talking about having a baby that she chose, a sperm baby. She does things that are outside the box, and obviously people have a lot of opinion about it, which is what's interesting. And of course, the two of them, Anita and Gigi, we would say are kind of like us. They're yes. great. They have a great friendship and keep each other kind of balanced. It was fun. It was fun. Like we were kind of looking at the two of us.
Honest comment. I did feel a little bit like the elder statesman.
Yes, I did too. But listen, because it's a really fun show to see inside these girls' minds and have them share with us.
Absolutely. Cheers.
Hey. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Better Together with Ann and Heather. We have by the way, you can't see them, two gorgeous women, talented, fabulous young mother with us, and Gigi. And we are thrilled to bring you on. Heather, take it away.
All right. Today, we welcome two women that make each other better. Golnesa Gharachedaghi, better known as Gigi. Gharachedaghi. I'm starting that over. Should I just not say it?
At you already.
Whoa.
But that was one of the best mispronunciations ever. I can see. I can see.
Well, no, do you know that the thing, because you can type in how do you pronounce this, and the computer says it for you. Have you ever listened to how the computer says it? Because the computer says.
Can you do it?
The computer says Gharachedaghi.
Oh, wow. Well, that just goes to show you that computers really are not smarter than humans.
You know what? Amen to that.
Okay, here we go. Yes. Today we welcome two women that make each other better, Gigi and Anita. They just launched a podcast together called Genuinely Gigi.
Yeah.
We know Gigi best from her hit Bravo show, The Shaws of Sunset, where we can also see Anita on that show as well. Season 9 of The Shaws of Sunset has just launched. Anita has built a reputation as an incredible event planner, and Gigi is also known for her cannabis wellness brand, Woosah.
Yes.
Woosah.
These are women that are building a brand of female empowerment and a no bullshit, take me as I am, fuck off attitude that we have a lot of respect for. So
yes,
welcome to the tribe, Gigi and Anita.
Welcome, Anita, to the tribe. Coolness is in front of us. I love it. Why are you guys doing a podcast together? I know people asked us, why do you do it?
Anita, go for that.
Well, this is okay. So she's very controversial. She has a lot of just from her life from when she was young to getting older. I think just a lot has happened, and so she thought she could take some of her life and her experiences and just kind of bring it in and just talk about it. And
that's the gist of it. I think I've just been a walking controversy for my whole life, which made me great for reality TV, you know what I mean? And then reality TV only gave me so much that I can really show of myself, because I'm sharing that spotlight with my other friends that are on that show or cast or whatever we're called. But, this was kind of a platform that I can go into my own personal outlooks on life, why I choose the decisions that I do that people only see a glimpse of when they watch a show. So it kind of went into that. That was the whole thing that inspired me. And I don't want to be one of those completely narcissistic D-list celebrities, because I am a D-list celebrity. I don't want to be one of those that gets a podcast show and makes it all about them and what they think about others. So I wanted to bring something in to create a controversy. I wanted to shake the table. And Anita happens to be one of my best friends, but we're also very different. I'm from LA, born and raised. She's a Persian Jewish girl from Ohio. So it's very different. You know what I mean? So it's like our differences are amazing and our similarities, bind us. So it was just a perfect balance, in my opinion.
It was fun when I listened to your podcast. You guys kind of reminded me of the two of us in a lot of ways.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Who's who? Who would be who then?
Well, we've got to find out a little bit more about you, but I am the Ohio raised. Because
you're
I'm from
Gigi.
Ohio now.
I'm Anita.
Anita, I'm a little bit, but maybe we were born into a little bit different cultures, I think, probably in Ohio.
Wait, you're from Ohio?
I am, yes. But
Wait, where?
I outside Cleveland in a little town called Aurora. But I moved from there when I was 6.5, and I was raised in a cult there, so I didn't see much of anything other than the parking lot. But I'm very curious where you come from in Ohio and how you guys ended up meeting.
I was born and raised in Dayton, Ohio.
Dayton, yeah.
And then I went to Ohio State, so I lived in Columbus for about 4 years.
Nice.
And then just the whole family decided to leave Ohio and come to California, and so we're all here. And I met Gigi
Through Reza.
through
We had
Reza.
mutual friends, which is another. Reza's also on the show. It was just all of us hanging out, and we met through mutual friends. We kind of did not get along at first.
No, we didn't.
They were saying
Mean.
so much
She's
bad
mean.
stuff about me to her,
Yeah.
so she could hate me and sort of make herself all pumped up to come for me. And it was like this whole thing. So once like the show was over, as far as like filming wise, that she and I ended up becoming best friends.
I mean, it took 2 years for me to
Yeah,
get
to warm up to
convinced that
me.
she's
Yeah.
normal and not, crazy, and she's actually nice. And scary. It was scary to allow her, because she tried to, beat me up. She was bullying me, and she was mean.
That's hard to get to like. I don't think.
She's come a long way.
Where do you think what do you think is most controversial about you, Gigi?
What's the what?
The most controversial, when you say, like, obviously I'm a controversial person and we're probably controversial in different ways, but why do people label you that and call you mean?
I think I portrayed a very mean character of myself because that's who I was at that time. That's what I was going through. I was in a dark place. I have an autoimmune disease, so it got the best of me for a very large portion of my life to be physically suffering and watching my friends partying and having a great time and going out and being able to hike trails that I could barely take 2 steps out, without, So I think I began hating life and just hating things and drinking heavily. So, it came with the territory. When you don't have your shit together and you're not mentally in a good, stable place, that happens. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Well, it's funny that you're from Ohio and then Gigi and I are both Southern California. I think that I saw on one of the shows, Born and
Palos
Raised,
Verdes, yeah.
that did you live in Palos Verdes?
I'm from Palos Verdes. Yeah.
Me too.
Really?
Yeah.
A little bit different generation.
Yeah. And you also went to LMU, which I did too. So
No way.
I know.
Oh my God. I did go to LMU. I thought you were going to name like the high school in Palos Verdes. I was going to say, yeah, I went there for like 2 weeks. I've been kicked out of so many schools. So Peninsula lasted like 2 weeks for me. And then I went to Rancho.
Oh, I know
I ended
Rancho.
up-
That's the
I
continuation
graduated
school.
from Rancho. Yeah.
How big is your family?
In Los Angeles?
Yes.
Very small. It's just my parents and my older sister.
So when you were going to school and you started to get a reputation, what was it for? Were you yelling, or did you not like what you were being taught, or did you not like the kids you were around? Where did it stem from?
Younger age. I think that I had an older sister who was the perfect age to where we couldn't get along. She was finishing the phase while I was entering it. We're 3.5 years apart. So as soon as, she's coming out and I'm entering, and sometimes entering earlier because she's my older sister and I'm trying to do things because it's cool. I think we just had this tension in the house and I needed a place to release that. And I was always academically advanced. So I was just bored in class. I was bored with teachers. I was bored with students. I was bored with everyone. And I didn't know, and I didn't have the right school system around me to know what to do with someone like me. They literally just kicked me out. I finally ended up, graduating from my 10th school. But I've just done a lot of crazy bad things, which were desperate pleas for attention.
I so appreciate your honesty. Anita, how were you when you were in high school? What would have been your were you like straight A student? Everybody liked you. You were a cheerleader. What was your
No.
I love the narrative.
Let's just say there's not much to do in Ohio. So I definitely sports. That's all I did. I was a big athlete.
You are. What did you play?
Sorry, my whole thing. Okay, so I'm sorry. What was the question?
Well, what did you play?
Oh, okay. So I played field hockey. I was a swimmer my whole life since I was 3.
Cool. Wow.
And then a track runner. So
wow. Do you still do it? Do you still keep up? Don't you find it's harder when you're working your balls off to keep it? Are you still super in shape?
No, I'm not.
Yes, she says.
Oh my God, she's so in shape. It's insanity.
I haven't worked out in like 3 years. You know
but
that.
it doesn't matter.
I don't
If you
have
don't
time.
do it for 300 years, you're just fit somehow by the gods. Like literally, she was designed so perfectly. Look at the face.
wow.
I mean, trust me, the rest of her is
very
amazing.
nice. Thank you. It's
Well, I have a Peloton for sale. Peloton. That's
A Peloton for a penny. A Peloton for a penny.
I'm now selling it, I think.
yeah.
That went quickly.
It's been used twice.
Yeah.
Well, who wants to
I
sit on a bike and go around and around and have somebody scream at them that they're doing it all right? I mean, sports are meant to be played on fields or you run around a track.
That's
do
how it
something,
was.
engage with others. But Gigi, you didn't have. I want to get back to what you needed to overcome, because having something that keeps you back from being able to do sports or walk, that it has to be incredibly difficult. Do you think your brain made up for, and maybe that's what happens, your body is something that needs your brain and your fire and your wit and your strength to be able to overcome? Is that true?
Yes, I agree. I think I was in a poor headspace for quite a long time, especially in the age that I think children are developing their immune system. I think I was not having the proper mental help that I needed in order to prepare my body, because I do believe in the mind, body, soul connection.
Sure.
So sure enough, and don't get me wrong, I was involved with drugs from a very young age, a very, very young age. So that mixed up all together, I think it just gave way, an open door for an autoimmune to come on in.
Oh, interesting.
So can you describe for me what that is and what that means?
Yes, I have rheumatoid arthritis, but there's so many different autoimmune diseases out there, and basically it's just when your actual immune system attacks you. It's not pleasant, it's not fun, and it really sets you back in a lot of ways.
Oh, I mean, I can imagine.
And you've learned to kind of treat it more with cannabis. Is that accurate?
Yep. I did. I after many, many years of going through so many classes of medications and infusions and steroids and chemo, my mom being much more on the Eastern medicine side of things, she's just more into natural remedies. So she just began really researching about natural remedies for autoimmune and found that the biggest anti-inflammatory was in cannabis. So when she presented the idea to me, now mind you, my parents checked me into my 120 days of rehab to get over drugs. So here's my mom now much later in life, 11 years later, telling me, hey, it's time we go visit a special doctor so we can get you on cannabis. I'm like, what?
Oh my God. Really, what was your reaction? Did you try to keep it together for your mother? Like, oh, that sounds like a really good idea. I think I should, but definitely, I'm sure, try cannabis.
I've tried it.
I mean, it wasn't my idea, but sure.
I was nervous because to me, in my mind, in the way we grew up, you guys and us, we grew up in an era where weed was a drug. It was an illegal drug equal to heroin, speed, meth, all those things.
Yes.
So
you should have seen the places in San Pedro we had to drive to get a nickel bag in the 80s. It was
exactly. You drove to a drug dealer, and it was like the shadiest thing that you would have to get in a little Ziploc bag.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
So when I went to rehab, originally I went in for everything, including weed. So it was very interesting to now be in an era where weed is a medicine and I can go somewhere and get a card from a doctor to get prescribed that. But fast forward about a year and a half into it, I noticed that I was off my meds, my Western meds, and I was able to function. And 2 years later, I was just in a full remission. And that's when I decided it's time to go buy some sperm.
No.
Oh, wait, let's talk about this when we come back. Let's take a quick break.
That Corey just jumped.
We just ended with
We're going to talk about
what could be better.
how weed and sperm go hand in hand.
Amen. So come back. Okay, so did the weed and sperm have to do with you having a baby?
Kind of, I guess you could say that. I guess it kind of works all together. The weed helps me in so many medical and spiritual ways. It made me open my eyes to life in a very different way. I was able to function properly without needing any other type of Western meds. I didn't have to carry my Xanax in my purse just in case I got a panic attack.
Wow.
So yeah, I think
Can you take weed when you're pregnant, or do you have to stop then?
I think there's a lot of controversy in that conversation right there. I think there are certain doctors. I've had plenty of doctors. Most of my doctors told me that I can go ahead and do it. I chose not to. I said to myself that if I ever get to a point where I get, oh man, I forgot the name of it. When you get that nausea, that it's just so insane that you get IV and everything. I forgot what it's called. But I said, if I get to that point, then I'm going to go take a puff. But because I would rather choose that than a hospital and an IV and all that, stuff. So, but I didn't get to that point. So I smooth sailed through my whole pregnancy, no pot. But honey, a joint rolled with us to the delivery room to prepare.
Amen.
Yes.
And were you
like, that baby is baked, and now it's time for me to get baked.
Yes.
And were you with her through this? I'm sorry, Gigi, I don't know this, but are you married, or do you have a baby daddy?
I don't have a baby daddy. I was married for 7 weeks to someone that I just
good amount of time.
Didn't want to do that. But I got a donor for my son.
Wow, incredible. Anita, you watched her go through that. What was that like as a friend standing by? That's a huge commitment to make, right?
God.
Yeah. We did it, and we actually had partners. I mean, so what was it like witnessing that in a friend?
I mean, it was really great. I gave her a lot of kudos for, making a big decision like that, because I think it takes a certain type of person to be able to want that, commitment and just financially and just in every way. Yes. But I think it kind of sucks because it was during COVID, so I guess we didn't really get to spend as much time together just because she was scared.
Yes.
It was just,
so you gave birth during COVID, right?
Oh my gosh.
She did.
I did. I gave birth. It was 2-3 weeks after the first lockdown ever happened, when everyone was just hoarding toilet paper.
Yes.
And they were saying that people cannot go into the delivery room with anyone else. And then a few days or a week or so before I did, I think the governor changed their mind and said one person can go in with you to give birth.
She didn't pick me for that.
I was going to say, was that a mommy role? Who did that with you?
You would think you would go for your mommy, and that's the only person I ever wanted to be.
Not me, but others do.
Really?
100%.
I wanted my mommy. At that time, it was when they were saying that COVID was targeting older people.
Yes.
So I thought, if God forbid I'm in a hospital and something goes wrong and I have to stay, she can't go in and out. She can't leave. Right. So I'm not going to put my parents at risk for this deadly COVID disease that they're talking about. So I chose my sister.
Was that some healing? I mean, how'd she feel about that?
It was interesting because our relationship has always been very, very, up and down. But I think when I got pregnant, she sort of shifted. Like, she was always coming. She set up the whole nursery by hand, nail and hammer.
And she has kids, right?
Together. She has 2 kids. Yeah, her kids are now 13 and 8. So it changed. And so when that presented itself, I don't have another choice. I didn't have to think twice. I'm like, of course I'll have my sister be with me. She's been there right now. This whole process. And she actually delivered my son. She was able to pull him out.
What?
So it was amazing. Yeah.
Wow.
It was amazing.
So what was it like having once you had the baby? Because I have 2 kids, and I remarked at how hard it was and how nobody really said, this is really hard. And then I thought about all the morons I know, like they pulled this off. Like they pulled this off. 'Cause it's really hard. So
Yeah.
She's talking about me when she says moron. She's like,
Am
that
I the
moron pulled
in
it
this
off.
scenario?
No, I mean like just it's really hard. So and I think about all these people that I'm kidding sort of, but I think about a lot of people that I know that like
that maybe shouldn't have made that choice.
Like I had a friend who was on the fence about having kids, and I'm like, it's not for you. You're not gonna like it. Just trust me.
That's hilarious.
But I think a lot of people thought that about me as well. Like that it's just like, because people know me from a show and they only got that one side of me. So they built their own judgments way before I even had a chance to say anything. It didn't matter what I did. It didn't matter if I married the most holy man in the world and had children that way. I'd be ridiculed for it. I just couldn't dodge that bullet. So I finally said, fuck it. I'm doing something that I want to do. I don't want an attachment to a man just because I want a child.
Nice.
So let me go shop out there and buy the best sperm I can find.
And she did.
I did.
But what did you look for? What did you shop for?
Because I did a movie about I did a movie about this years ago with Ellen and Sharon Stone, and it was called Misconception, MISS. But what I learned was how you actually really are going and ordering the kid you want. Did you order it up like McDonald's?
Probably like any kid, they don't turn out like you plan either. You probably like order.
Were you thinking of something when you were orchestrating your choices? Or someone.
It's funny you say that because it really, I joke about it and say it's sort of like the Build-A-Bear workshop kind of thing. It's a Build-A-Baby kind of concept, but I think I've never been more scared of anything in my life. I wasn't scared of childbirth. I wasn't scared of anything. I was scared of how I'm going to create this human being. Because that's literally what I'm doing. I'm designing him right now.
Incredible.
So,
but at the same time, I do strongly feel like the baby that you're meant to have finds you, and that there's something in that process. And while you can pick and choose whoever you want, the baby that was meant for you
is
going to find you, and that's ultimately what's going to prevail, no matter how much you look.
We're talking about baby. What is your baby's name so we can actually
Elijah.
Elijah.
His name is Elijah.
Hi, Elijah, welcome to the spirit room here. That's
you.
We have a
I don't know how familiar.
Well, Elijah isn't with us. So we're with us in spirit.
Yes.
Okay. I was confused.
That's what I meant.
in all kinds of spirits. IVF process is detailed. It's long. It's lengthy. It's pricey, it's emotional. It's a very big process to go through IVF. But one thing about IVF is it's meant to bypass your fallopian tubes, and it just directly implants the embryo right into its home. So like you just said, babies choose their mom. I lost that pregnancy. It turned into an ectopic pregnancy. Wow. Which then ruptured, and then I had to get both my fallopian tubes surgically removed within like an hour time.
Oh my God. How rough.
That's a 1% chance of that happening through IVF is for it to turn ectopic. So I do believe what you said, that yes, there was a reason that I didn't have that child.
Right. I had a miscarriage at one point, and I found it to be, the first time I got pregnant I was so devastated. But then when my daughter was born, I realized I wouldn't have her if that had, it
makes me cry. I think that's probably one of the hardest things that I have ever gone through is losing a child. And I think it's really amazing too that you're speaking about that honestly, because I don't think people do. And if I had been told that, or if I had heard someone like you say, listen, I went through this, I made my choices, I had some lost, because you think of it's coming, that the story comes from an older woman, me, or I can say, oh yeah, I had a miscarriage. But the fact of the matter is it's so normal, and it is part of the naturalness of giving, it's just not talked about enough. And I think that gives people some courage. I think you're incredible how much honesty you have to share it's mind blowing, and you're young and to be able to do it, and it's so
Thank you.
appreciated here. And
Thank you.
And I know, and I don't mean to need to be. I mean, we're focusing on Gigi here, but we are also talking.
No, I mean, I'm just
about.
it's okay. I'm just a co-host, so I'm the co-host
listen,
here. Like,
we have this sometimes. Sometimes Heather takes over, and sometimes I do. But I do understand that sometimes I take over because I get so goddamn curious. But I do want to get to the betterment of the two of you, and what it is that you are seeing in the other. And you spoke briefly about saying we are different. We have these similarities. We are people who, I would say, Heather and I are bonded in our philosophy, how we believe. But I would like for you to illuminate a little what makes you guys better together.
What do you think makes us better?
I think it's she. How do I say that? We just get along. There's no like agenda. There's no like, she wants the best for me. I want the best for her. We're there to lift each other up. We support each other. Like, every time she has like an idea or a project, like, she's like, I'm like the first person she'll call and be like, let's do this. And I'm like, let's do it. And so I just feel like
that's great.
We balance each other
out.
Well, I think there's a lot of people that come in and out into your lives, and certain people you just recognize immediately, you know. And in your case, it didn't sound like it was immediate, but eventually,
after 2.5 years of torture and abuse,
you eventually something that, you know, there is some connection there that you recognize each other's.
Right.
You know,
it is a connection. It's a soul thing. You just vibe with some people, and you spend, you know, a certain amount of time in your life just, you know, sharing frequencies. And I think that Anita and I are just vibrating at a similar frequency right now because, again, our differences are so significant. Like, she believes in the whole concept of marriage and love, and, you know, that, right? I don't believe in marriage. I believe in polyamory, and I have a donor baby, you know, but no matter what, there's this level of common understanding. Our morals are always on the same page. And I think that's just what works.
Yes. I mean, we like to, we talk about our foundation being like non-judgment, or as Heather always said, don't be a dick. Like, listen, our philosophy isn't actually even that complicated.
Right. Well, I was listening to the podcast the other day, Genuinely Gigi.
Yes.
It was funny because it reminded me of the two of us, because you were lighting up a joint and you were telling Anita that she had to like smoke the whole thing with you. And that's how I am. I like pot,
let's go.
but I get I'm a super lightweight. Like, one hit and I'm hot. You should have the other day.
Can we please? Around. I need to introduce. You have to tell them, because, of course, Heather told me that the weed is a big part of your life, that you're open about it. I am new to weed.
It took us a long time to stop calling it pot too. Our kids informed us, you can't call it pot. You sound 107.
Yeah,
so it's like
107.
Our parents used to say Mary Jane.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
and that's why it's Mary Jane's where I go. Hi, Mary Jane's. But I'm new to it. But Heather has been smoking weed for a long time, and she still is such a lightweight. So this is what happened, you guys. We just moved into our studio. Okay, just
congratulations.
Thank you. You'll have to come when
if it's echoing back at you or we're screaming, forgive us. But this is what happened the other day when Heather and I are moving in. I'm upstairs because we have a studio here, and then I live in the penthouse. I'm going, where the fuck is Heather?
Well, I took a big edible, and I probably didn't have my glasses on, so I didn't see the milligrams. I am wandering the hallways like I'm in The Shining. I'm terrified. I've got this key fob that isn't working. I've got to get in 7 elevators to go. I end up like in my car, just sitting there. Like, where do I go? How do I get back? I literally am just wandering around for days.
Luckily, it's a pretty building, but she did arrive like it was.
But it was
like
scary.
It was
like all the
later,
hallways were like long, and it was like it felt like The Shine. Like, I was scared. And I got like my
how much
mask.
did you take? How much did you actually take?
I don't think I see.
It's not. But like what? Like how big? It's not like she took a bag.
I probably just took like 5 milligrams, because I'll like bite off the 5 milligrams. It couldn't have been 10. If it was 10, that would make more sense. But but I was just lost. And then I find you in the
Like, hi.
and I was like with my arms open, like hugging her, like, I found you, I'm back, I'm safe. I'm like in the fetal position on the couch, like that was so scary.
I wonder if it was like laced with like
No, this
molars.
happened.
No, honestly, Anita, like no. Honestly, it's
This
like a
happens
chew.
to
It's
me
like
all
a
the
tiny little
time.
chew. Like because I'm new. But I know.
And then another
you
time
like
on
to
the
giggle.
same
I think you like
edible,
to giggle and wander around with yourself.
we went out downtown for dinner, and it was fantastic. And like everywhere we looked, it was just, everybody had on their best outfits, right? Because nobody has been able to go out in forever.
Yeah.
So everybody looked just fantastic and interesting, and I was like, this downtown is like, I've never seen anything like it. We were just couldn't believe it. And then finally we realized, like, oh wait, we've been inside for a year and a half. Like, we
Yes.
have not been out and seen people.
Are you guys finding that you are? Where do you live? Which part of LA do you guys live in? Do you live near each other?
Yes,
We
we
do.
do. We do live near each other. We're in the well, I don't want to exactly say where.
Yeah, you tell me your address right now, and we're gonna come and find you, Gigi. You give it to me, or we're
in
not
the
gonna do our
valley.
third act.
We can say where we are because there's lots of security
Yeah, there's
here.
no way anybody's coming out. But when we come back, I want to talk to you guys about your philosophy on what it is. I mean, your the moral code that you're talking about. Well, we're going to take a quick break. Okay, we're broken. We're back. I know you have a philosophy.
Those are
Gigi.
such hard questions. If you asked me that, I'd be like, I don't know.
Well, I don't know. Is it a hard question? I don't know. I feel like you probably pondered that
I can
a little
answer
bit.
it all with
I
don't be a
think She
dick.
probably has pondered it a lot more than you have.
I'm sure.
No, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I think it is an interesting thing when we talk about moral code and being centered in it. And that's a word that isn't used. In fact, moral is kind of an old-fashioned word, but I think it needs to be more of a standard. What do you think?
Morals and values.
Yeah, like what is that foundation where you guys let? Because I'm so interested in your partnership and that you're doing this, and I think it's important to talk about what it is that you care about, so that first of all we can share in it, and you can make us better without talking about what you believe in.
I appreciate you asking that because that sort of sets a tone on what the point was for doing Genuinely Gigi and
That's what I thought.
having each other,
Yes.
as a co-host, because I want to talk about things that people have been afraid to talk about. I want to discuss those topics that people have so many questions about, but are still so afraid to ask them because of who might see them ask it.
Yes.
Even these days, social media being a huge thing, people are still afraid to follow certain people just because if God forbid someone sees it, they're following that person, but they keep checking into that person. So there's a level that people need to be reached. No one gets judged by who they're listening to on a podcast because no one knows who they're listening to.
Right. That's interesting.
So
yeah.
I'm like, let me use this platform then. Let me talk about those things. Let me tell you that it's okay that I'm a 40-year-old, attractive, educated woman, and I don't want a husband. I want multiple partners. And I want my partner to have multiple partners. And that's okay.
How did you come to that understanding? Because that's a unique one. I was going to go do a TV show about that. I thought would be pretty interesting. But that is an open philosophy that most people don't understand. So what do you say about that? To us, open. How did you come to that?
Just it came about on its own. I think it to me, and I don't want to undermine anyone that comes out as gay or les or trans, but to me, when I discovered polyamory, it felt like I finally came out. Like I was like, oh my God, this was the thing. Like why I always jump to relationships for 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. I make men fall in love and then I run away as soon as they do start falling too deep in love. Why was I doing that? And now it's like, it's starting to make sense. So I really started reading about it, not just the surface about what poly is. It's people keep thinking that, you go have sex with whoever you want. Like that's the polar opposite of, to me, what poly is. It's more about, I enjoy the concept of commitment and I do not believe in cheating, but I cannot be with just one person. Spiritually, emotionally, I just can't be with one person. And I don't want my partner, my boyfriend or my male, whatever her significant other is, to only depend on me.
Right.
I can't carry that weight.
Is poly, and this is just my ignorance, is it this is probably an incorrect word, family that is in agreement? I mean, I know that's how some people do it, that you are with your male and female partner or partners together and you all agree on that commitment. I think
that's polygamy.
That is more, well, no, polygamy is more where the man can go and have as many women as he wants.
Polygamy is a dude friggin' marries a whole bunch of wives and has a whole bunch of kids.
Yeah.
That's sort of,
like Mormon
poly is different. And I think while doing the podcast, Genuinely Gigi, I've been interviewing a lot of experts in the field. So I've been really learning a lot that you really set the tone on what it is that you want poly to mean for you. But, one of the women I interviewed, she was in a 6-person dynamic. And those 6 people, they don't use contraceptives or anything. And they made an agreement that they're only going to stay with those 6. They can sleep around.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I spoke to another guy, Dr. Ian Jenkins, where he has 2 children via egg donor and surrogates, but he's also in a throuple relationship with 2 men. And they're also
is throuple 3?
Yes,
three people. There are 3 men in the relationship.
Sure. I didn't know if there was another couple throuple.
Listen,
I didn't know.
I'm learning all this
There's a ripple
too,
and triple. Come on,
like,
there's a whole new language. Right, Anita? Like, come on, give me a break. I don't know what a throuple is. I'm sorry. Did you read up on that last night, Heather?
No, but I just
okay. No, I mean you can kind of get to the throuple after the couple.
3
I know. I did understand that. I have taken math.
Okay.
How does that differ from that? How does that philosophy differ from you, Anita? In relationship wise,
be honest.
Please.
Just like the whole polyamory stuff.
Well, I think this would probably be where you guys differ somewhat in terms of your relationship point of view. Where would you come in?
I mean, I still go back to. I'll go back to her right now. I still think that she has not
do that all the
found
time.
the right person. And she's never really been in love to think that she is open, because she hasn't done an open relationship yet, right?
So this is all just fantasy.
I think if a guy is willing to do it, which is not easy to find, that it could eventually go in that direction. But I still think if she develops too strong of feelings for someone, I don't think she's gonna be okay with them being with someone else. Or I think the jealousy and some things could come out. She doesn't.
I was married for 7 weeks. Okay, 7 weeks.
7 weeks.
Married because he was a leech. He just would not want to leave me alone. It was just always hold me, be with me.
But he wasn't the right person for you.
I said to him, listen,
that was hard to watch.
If I'm not around, if I'm not in the mood, you see a hot girl or something, go do your thing.
Right.
I don't care. Get a blowjob, have sex. Don't let me find out. Don't let
because
people
you
see
didn't
it.
like him.
I don't
you didn't
care.
love him.
He threw a fit. Like I just like as if I just cheated on him by saying that.
Well, the point is that if she liked him,
if you weren't that into him, then
you weren't that into him.
Well, no, I have to say, I think jealousy is a very different thing. Jealousy has its own demon in it, and when you are a jealous person, you are not able to see another. And I'm not even speaking sexually, but it's more mentally the ability to be able to be in a relationship with someone like Gigi. I could admit it's a tough one to tackle. You want to be, a man being able to handle that is very difficult. I think jealousy is smarmy. I think you're right, Gigi. I think you should be able to listen. I used to say, listen, would you knock it off? I'm the most singular person in a relationship. If I want to go fuck somebody, I'll tell you. That's my moral code.
Yeah.
But and I expect the same back. But by the way, if you're not fucking awesome and you're not going to walk into a room and I'm not going to know that everybody wants to fuck you, then why do I want to be with you? You got to be miraculous. I want you to be fantastic and wonderful. Why don't you want the same for me? But to think that I'm going to go walk into a room and offend you because I engage other people in conversation, people would get James. Yeah. My ex would get jealous of Heather. I'm like, what are you talking about? Anybody who has
he would.
Oh my God. Oh, you're spending more time with it. Oh, you're doing this. Oh, your creativity. Oh, blah, blah, blah. But it came down to jealousy. And forget the idea that you would say to a guy, hey, why don't you go get a blowjob? I think you go like, what? You don't love me enough to want to be the only one to suck my gorgeous dick?
Did you know there's something? There's something called a Jack Shack, where you go
Jack Shack.
and you
Jack.
yes,
Is that like Shake Shack?
no, you stick your penis in a wall
Oh,
and
shit.
somebody jacks it off and you
No,
don't see them.
Honey,
And-
that is old
What?
school. That's how people got AIDS. Do you understand? That's
Why
why
with the hand?
bathhouses.
How, with your hand?
Bathhouses, you stick your dick in a hole and you
Yeah.
either fucking ass or you get a jerk off or a blowjob. Like, come on, that's like.
Well, I'm
my
just
dad died of
saying, like
shit.
that seems like it's just like going to get a haircut. Like I wouldn't really have a problem with that.
Wait, but do you get to say like what you want on the other end? Like I want a man, I want a woman. I
Whoa,
want...
I've never been.
And it's just a hole, Anita. We're gonna have an outing.
I don't
we
have-
always talk about the outings that we
Yeah,
want
but
to do now with that
that's
Better
for
Together
boys.
tribe.
You can't
These
stick your
girls.
vagina through a hole.
You can't. You could stick it, but you said it's
I
kind of
would
like
want
getting
that.
a haircut. You could stick your ponytail through a hole, and then you come out with an interesting looking haircut.
Ew. Anyways, I'm just saying there are those places.
Yeah, I don't think Jose E. Bear in Beverly Hills does haircuts through a hole.
No, but I'd heard there was a place on La Cienega.
Yeah.
I told a few people. I did.
You did about
Yeah.
the whole haircut.
Yeah.
The whole-
And it was
Yeah,
true.
I mean-
they verified it.
Going back to morals, I think for me
Yes,
it's just
from Jack
I- I
Shack
was
to
Yeah,
morals.
she's like, this Jack Shack is not for me. Like, could I please talk
Jack
about
is
some?
not for me.
some-
For my morals. No, I think for me it's just I would like to. I mean, I haven't been that fortunate because I'm turning 42, and I've not met that person.
Young.
I've almost did. I broke the engagement off like 2 months before, but I
Oh,
think
you
for
have to
me
tell us that. You can't just skip over that one.
Just-
What do you mean? You were engaged? Who was he?
He was a guy that was 13 years older than me.
Uh-huh.
First, from Ohio. He was the first guy that I met when I came out here. He was a doctor. He was really like, he would just manipulate everything. I was 23.
Oh my goodness.
Fresh out, naive
Yep.
Ohio Midwestern
Yeah,
girl.
yeah.
And he was just this like really charming first Persian, first Jewish person I ever dated. And 6 years of up and down and hell, and just he was a cheater. And so I think that's for me because I'm more sensitive to cheating and this and that. So I do value what you say that you're not a cheater and you want to have this open relationship. That's great. And I have like more power to you. For me, I just would like to be with that one person and hope that
Okay, what do you
They're
do
not
when
cheating,
the
'cause I'm
person that
so
you
loyal.
love and you're in love with him, and one day he says, Anita, I do not love you any less by what I'm about to say. I would like to explore something with someone else as well. But I want to have you and I don't love you less. Everything's going to be the same. Then it's either you can't accept him for who he is, the person you say you love, or you leave him.
Yeah.
So what is it?
Oh.
Well, no guy has
'cause
the
I'm
balls
not
to say that, because quite honestly, if you're in a monogamous relationship, how many guys have the balls to say, you know what, I love you, but I want to do this? And that honesty is what probably polyamory is about. You can openly say, this is what I want. And you're around a conversation and with people who are able to take that in.
Yeah.
In normal, and maybe we're still backwards and living in, early ages where it's still very difficult. And I think it's more difficult for women than men. I don't know. I think it's more difficult for women to accept that a man is going out and putting his penis into some other vagina and then coming home and saying, I love you. I think women have a hard time with that.
I think in theory, like I get that philosophically, like if a man that I loved came to me honestly and said, I love you, but I still, I would love to be the person that is okay with that.
Me too.
But I wouldn't be. I couldn't be. And
why wouldn't you be?
Because it would bother me. It would bother me knowing that he's with another woman. It would just
and the fact
I don't
that
know.
he's not that into me anymore.
Are
He's
you
not
insecure that it means less for you?
I don't. Maybe.
Well, the reality is it does mean
Like,
less for her.
I mean,
because
I'm just telling you the
if
truth.
a guy is going, the truth of the matter is there's only a certain amount of time in a day. And so
Correct.
the time that we spend with somebody and the time we spend during our whatever, there's only a certain amount, X amount of hours. So it is less time. I mean, the truth of the matter is it is less time. And a lot of women are having a difficult time. They stay at home. They take care of the kids. They wait for the husband to get home from work. Maybe it's late, especially with what's going on. International work, people are working hard. Thank God people are getting back to work after having some real friggin' problems during COVID, but that's a different story. But women are many who aren't working women, gorgeous women forced that stay at home and work their balls off all day long, trying to do something that doesn't require, wiping off baby goo. And they want that man to come home, and whether it's bring them flowers or a bottle of wine, come home and spend some time on my body here, buddy. And that is something that is talked about in romance and everything else. And if a man wants to do that with somebody else, we women force are going, well, what the fuck about me? I just took care of your kids all day and I want some kissing. I want your time. And I think that's a valid orchestration of what goes on with monogamous relationships. Even though it's not what you're thinking, Gigi. But
I think society has painted that picture.
I absolutely do.
I think we have been designed to be that and mold ourselves into that concept that the woman raises the kids and just sits around and waits for the husband to come home. And
I don't mean to paint it that way, but I'm actually really meaning to honor the women who work their asses off. And I don't mean it's sitting at home waiting for the man to come home like, oh, poor me. Right. But really energetically like, hey, I put the kids to bed. Like, I'm ready to have some sex. I'm ready to have some fun. I'm ready to have some romance. And if that man is choosing to have perhaps a romance with somebody who hasn't had babies and wants to come home and tell you about that, there is a lot of emotion around that experience for a woman. Am I too old? Am I getting it? Is it because I had babies? Is my vagina too loose? Like, what the fuck? Are you getting a 25-year-old rather than a 50-year-old? Like, there's a lot of questions in that women are, and men too, by the way, especially my pussy ass exes. But like, Lord, give me a break. I wanted them to go out and want to fuck somebody else. Like, get the fuck off me. Bye. But anyways, that's my life. I think it's a really incredible thing that you're talking so openly and that you do have a friend, Anita, to be able to show you. And I think that's what the balance of a friendship is, why we call ourselves better together. Why? Because somebody else can look at us and reflect back to us who we are, give us advice, give us truth. But it doesn't say, if you don't agree with me, then I'm going to judge the shit out of you and you're not going to be my friend because you think differently than I do.
And I think it's important what Gigi is saying too, is that we've just been programmed to think of things in a certain way. And when we just stop and cheers, ladies. And we just stop and like readjust and think about it, like, wait a minute. I mean, I had to do that in my life when I got, separated from my husband. I was kind of the stay-at-home mom and did everything by the book and the way it was supposed to be. And I got to a certain point where I'm like, wait, why am I doing all of, like, who is this serving? It's certainly not serving me.
Right.
And why am I doing this way just because it's how you're supposed to do it?
The supposed to's.
And then, so I do think that that's a really important conversation. And it sounds like it's something that you want to do on your show. And it's definitely something we want to do on our show, is just to continue this conversation of open communication about it. You know?
Because we are going to evolve. And of course, we're not only, but you said, we believe in spirit and heart and body and mind all working together. And it takes people like open, honest communicators to be able to engage the group of people who can say, wait, maybe if I just open that door a little bit, I'm becoming more, and by even listening. People can have their opinion, but if they don't know, and I think one of the things you're doing that's unique is being able to say, here's an option. That's what we talk about. We talk about options of how to look at life. Like, hey, I really fucking care about people living in loving kindness. I really do. I dedicate my life to it. I study it. I think about it. I think about ways to do it that are fun and fascinating. And the number one key for us, which is why we're all communicators and doing this, is to say, get some knowledge in front of you, and then you can have and share your opinion with yourself and your friends, and you can grow. So amen to you guys, like right on for making us better and for making us have a little bit more knowledge about some opportunities that are happening in the world, because that's cool.
Before we let you go, can we talk for a minute? I know the Shaws of Sunset season 9 has just come out.
Yes.
What can we expect this season from everyone?
Other than polyamory and babies and monogamy and fun and love.
By the way, Reza, who you guys met through, I don't know him, but I swear I see that man I used to see him more like once a week at the market,
Who?
at coffee. Reza.
Yeah.
He was just. I live in Larchmont Village, and so he was just
he was
constantly like not a week would go by that I wouldn't see him.
Yes. He's amazing. He's actually lost like 80, maybe more than 80 pounds.
Yeah.
He's just looking so fit. He's the healthiest he's ever been. His marriage to his husband is better than it's ever been.
That's
So,
fantastic.
yeah, I think a lot of us on this show are thriving, and I think a lot of us have just stayed steady. So I think season 9, which is about 10 and a half, 11 years ago that we started this whole process of,
Jeez.
making this show.
My Lord.
Oh my God. It's mind blowing that we're still around. There
It
were
is.
protests to try to cancel
Oh,
our
yeah.
show. You know,
What?
it was-
Why?
Yeah. By our own people, by our own Persian people
Mm-hmm.
protesting against us. They were going to City Hall in Beverly Hills
What?
protesting that
Saying
don't
what?
show this. It's a mockery. It's fake. It's not our real. They were scared. And they were
Yeah.
like, let's not watch because we're not going to give
Not
them
gonna
ratings.
support
Those are the
anything,
same fucking people who are now chasing us down the street for pictures.
Yeah, I was going to say they're your audience now.
Do you know I
Right.
had a Persian boyfriend for like 4 years?
Yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Oh my God. Like we stay away.
Oh.
Wait, why?
I don't know. He was kind of one of my favorites of all. I mean,
Oh, wow.
his mother might not have been one of my favorites, but
Yeah, I think after being engaged to one and dating a couple and her, like, they're just so controlling. I don't
yes,
know.
yes. My younger self enjoyed it more than my older self would. My older self would probably be like, "Yeah, I'm not having that."
Yeah.
But young Heather appreciated that, strong male. Dominance.
Yes, the dominant, controlling, overbearing, overpowering, manipulative. Yeah, no, we don't want that anymore.
I like
No,
the
and
food.
certainly not for these two.
I like the food too. I still have this big cookbook where I tried to learn to cook everything.
Yeah,
to
you did.
impress his
Wow,
mother.
That's
It did.
impressive.
Yeah, well, that's
Persian
what happens
food
when you
is
try to impress
hard.
somebody.
A lot of
It
recipes
is.
to Persian food.
Getting that rice crispy, it's just
Do you guys?
Wait, you don't
Taddy.
cook.
Yeah.
You don't cook at all. She doesn't cook. I
No,
don't cook.
I can. I just don't like to. It's because Persian food is very,
Very,
so
very
time
complicated.
consuming, a lot of chopping and
Yeah.
Yes.
that just means a lot of cleaning afterwards.
It's
And I
truly-
don't like that part of it.
I think your honesty is transforming me as we speak.
But there's
I think
so
I'm
many
gonna-
flavors.
I forget. I feel the same way. And I'm a mom of 2, and I've done it all, whatever. And you feel this guilt and this shame, like, oh my God, I got to get that dinner. What if I don't cook at least one meal for the kids this week? I can't. That's my new goal, and I do. I used to love to cook, but I'm with you. Like, fuck it, man. I don't want to do the cleanup, and my kids certainly aren't going to.
My son, they picked his paper to read at a Mother's Day assembly when he was in like the 8th grade. And he reads this letter, and it was like, my mom is, she had to go back to work, and the Great Recession.
Yes.
And so she, I see her work, it's this whole spiel, and she's like, and thank God for her, Postmates was invented, so we get a lot of Postmates. And I'm just like sitting there going, oh my
That's
God.
Henry's gratitude. Thank God for Postmates, because my mom has to go back to work.
Because my mom doesn't cook anymore.
And we miss her cooking. Well, you guys, we've had such a wonderful conversation with you, and I just want to ask you a question before we go. If you could have told yourself something when you were 30 years old, if there was something that now that you're in your tiny 40s, the first that you have learned that you could have told yourself that maybe you could have avoided some hardships along the way, what might that be?
I don't believe in regrets. So I don't think I would have said anything other than I think I would have told myself to just enjoy it. Mm-hmm. Don't take it so personally.
Nice.
Because we have no choice but to get better. Everything changes and everything follows through and finishes. So I think I would have just told myself that, just hang on, it's gonna be fine.
I think so. Yeah, same for me. Just let go. Don't be just don't dwell and hold things in so much, and just like everything will get better. Everything will just, I don't know. I'm so bad at this. Sorry.
Especially if you have a friend by your side that's making you feel better about any of those things that you need to overcome.
For me, another thing would be just to believe in myself more, be more confident, and just.
She does need to do that.
And she tells me that daily, and that's why I love her too.
And I try to I'm her hype woman all the time.
She's like, Anita, yeah. So I think just.
But I'll also be like, girl, what the fuck do you have on right now?
Oh, the perfume the other day?
It's usually when she looks super, super hot. I'm like, what the fuck are you wearing, you fucking sexy
Take it off and give it to me. I want to wear it tomorrow. You guys, what?
But I do, just before we go, I think that the point of looking back like that 10 years ago is to know, like, sitting where you sit now, how empowered I think that we all feel as women, and we're 10 years ahead of you guys.
Yeah.
right.
And so if like there's just,
So what would you tell us?
Yeah,
what would you tell us
yeah.
then?
By the way, she's not 40
Just
yet.
starting this,
She's
like-
39. You're
Well,
not
I'm
40
about to
yet.
be 40
And we're gonna
in-
throw. I'm gonna throw a big party for her.
I
yes,
bet you are.
yes. Well, I hope
You
we're
guys have to
invited.
come.
I will
Well, I
come
think
with bells and whistles.
I feel like you're ahead of me 10 years ago, but I do think, number one, you're really young. And it's like, you're never as, we no matter what age we get, we're thinking like, oh my God, when I was 40, I'm like, here it goes.
Yeah.
And so now I know that when I'm 60, I'll be like, hey, you were fly when you
That's
were 50,
right, that's right.
you know?
Okay, yeah,
so
yeah.
so enjoy the moment that you're in terms of age and physique and all of that. And just know that, you have the power within you, and and it just grows as you get older. So if you know that it grows as you get older, just grab it now.
Yeah, exactly.
If you guys were to say you used any method in order to come to that understanding or to help you get to that understanding, what tool would you offer us that we are just trying to start this? And, we love it, but it's got its challenges too, because we want to be so good at this and deliver education to people. So I feel like you guys are also doing that. You guys open doors for people. So what tool would you tell us to kind of utilize
For the podcast.
in general, just to
Life,
be
yeah.
great together, to do this in a great way without, if it doesn't work out, we don't fall out? Or what would you say that, is, imperative to have?
There's no mistake to telling the truth.
Right.
When you're in it, you are always in the exact place where the universe wants you to be. So you are therefore allowing somebody else to be exactly where they are. It's 100% truth. Truth doesn't have a little tiny bit of lie in it. There's no 1% of lie. It's same in love. Love doesn't have 100. Love has 100%. Doesn't have 1% of hate. And when you're operating through truth, you are able to reflect that back to another. And I think that gives you a foundation. I know who she is, and I know that if I don't, or if she's feeling like I don't, or I'm not reflecting that, A, she's going to tell me, B, I'm going to see it, and C, we're going to together say, this isn't the place we want to be. It's the same with any relationship. I don't feel the way that I want to feel right now, therefore I put myself here, therefore I need to make that change, and I need to take responsibility. Truth is the best way to ease yourself into the love and the joy of what I believe is the ecstasy of life. That's how we do it. And when you have a friend by you to do it, then you can start setting goals. You learn about each other. Keep learning about each other. Would you say just keep learning? Because we do that.
And also
we ask each other.
asking the questions
ask questions
that we know that people want to hear, but they're afraid to ask.
Right.
Oh, that's a podcast question.
Yeah. But no, even
you know what it is? It's in life. That's kind of how we became friends. Like we really did. We just dove into we were sitting at a table full of people we thought were full of shit. By the way, out of Heather's mind, I'm sorry, that's full of shit. I'm sorry if you don't like me for that either. But if you stay truthful, it's not like a fuck you. I think you probably had a lot of fuck yous. I don't know you in your younger years, Gigi, but I think you did. But have a little bit of a fuck you and I'm claiming my life. This is my life. I do tell the truth. I've got a friend who supports me to do it, and that's why we live in joy. That's how we live in joy.
And we built our friendship and this podcast on the premise of zero fucks given.
Yes.
Really.
Yeah. Yes.
And we're not going to try to pander to something or pretend we're something that we're not, or to
keep each other honest.
Yeah.
And
we don't put on airs.
We don't.
I said
although I have to say, one of the things that comes from that, one of the things that comes from having so much fun with another while you're doing it, all of a sudden we've started dressing differently. All of a sudden I start putting on makeup. All of a sudden I'm living in this kind of frivolity in a way that I've always been I'm a controversial person. I blah, blah, blah. What do people think about my sexuality? Every time I walk into a room, people have a fucking feeling about me. Oh my God, how can I overcome?
Right.
All that, which I know is on top of you, but all that gets released in our through our friendship. Like, fuck what anybody thinks, by the way. But when you're continually moving forward, that would be my last key for you. Just you live in honesty, you live in truth. That ignites the pathway to love and joy, and then you get to live in the fun and the physicality of what it is that you're experiencing. So next time, Anita, you wear something hot, give it to her next day, because that's what Heather and I do. Like, wait, yeah, you know that sweater you wore the other day? Maybe people won't notice. I'll put on a different necklace. And all of a sudden, you're playing in each other's worlds, and keep playing, keep striving, keep looking, ask the questions that you want to ask, and know that gives people the freedom to be themselves. That is the key. That's the key. And if they don't, fuck them.
And by doing that, by us being honest and having these conversations, I think there's a lot of people out there who feel less alone and less self-conscious, and it spreads a little bit.
Look at
bit of love.
You spread the joy. Everybody, thank you. You guys, thank you. You are gorgeous. Your podcast is going to be phenomenal. And we can't wait to come on and be your guests. And
Yes.
but we just want to say what a delight it is to be able to talk to two such beautiful women. And until next time, everybody, live in love and kindness.
And don't be a dick.
Thank you.
We're better together with Ann and Heather.
I think I have a different moral code now that I listen to that. I might want to explore some new things. How do you feel about that?
Well, I like
Heather?
the polyamory idea, but I like that I could go and have multiple boyfriends.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want my boyfriend to have multiple girlfriends. So what does that mean? What is that? So I'm like a reverse polygamist.
Yeah, you are. You want to have all the play and have Johnny be a no playboy.
Well, by the way, when my kids were younger, there was a show about these polygamous families, and I'm not going to lie, there was something that appealed to me about having all that help with making dinner.
Well, wait, you were a sister wife for Halloween the first year that I met you, so I think you do have something going on with that. I have multiple
wives. It was probably
wives
the time that I was like, I was intrigued by having, help in the house.
Help in the house, and you had other sisters. But the hilarity was you hadn't quite thought, no, what does that mean about him? He's like dipping his dick into all these wives. Like, what is going on, and why is that okay? So polygamy is clearly a different
but when your
thing
kids
than
are
that.
little, you're not interested in.
You don't want it anywhere, anyways.
Dick in you anyway. So it's like if sister wife number
Give me the
3
sisters.
is going to take it, then
she'll take that. Oh my God,
You
she'll
take
bend
that.
over
I'm
for
going to
him.
bed.
I'm going to make some broccoli.
I'm going to bed and watching Bravo.
Oh, wow, that was super fun. Well, listen to us next week for even more fun. Bye.
Bye.
And a big thanks to our Better Together team. That's Ryan Tillotson, Sebastian Alcala.
And you, Elizabeth Keener.
Oh, thanks, Ryan. And of course, Ann and Heather.
We're better together with Ann and Heather. Straw Hut Media.